I have nothing for sculpture tomorrow.
Give her the teddy, Ryan. Go and sit over there, okay? It's beginning now. Shh. Ryan!
I was born in Namibia, and when I was 2 moved to Hackney. We moved around East London a bit and settled in Stratford, stayed in Stratford for most of my life. Stratford was just calm, I was just a normal kid from Stratford, that was who I was. But anyway, then all of a sudden we moved to Botswana.
Oh man, it's very, I always describe it as there's a lot of movement, and it's very inspiring to just have all this stuff going on around you all the time, like constantly there's something going on.
Came to Holland because I was needing to get out of New Zealand. I was sick of seeing the same faces every day. There isn't a part of me that is like, oh, I wish I was in Wellington now.
I was born in Warminster, Pennsylvania. It was 5:55 in the morning, I believe. And the way that my mom describes it, she always says that it was, the sunrise that day was the most like colorful thing she'd ever seen in her entire life, that the sky had never been so many colors at once. And she says, like, she swears to this day, never again she's seen one, and that makes me feel very special.
Yeah. I find it hard to describe my mom, because to me she's more like a storm or a bird, or I've kind of given up on trying to really understand who she is as a person. Maybe because that's not really important to love someone.
Yeah, she had me when she was 19, which is younger than me now. But she's a cool chick. My mom was always like way over accepting about who I was. Like, I would be putting on eyeliner at like 12 years old. Like, I wore bright red lipstick to class in kindergarten. It was like clown-like, like it was embarrassing.
In 2016, she went through my phone just one night while I was sleeping. I mean, I was in my last year of high school, we all get up to some dodgy shit. And she just carried on, I guess. I don't know why, like if she found out bad stuff, why does she want to find out more bad stuff? But she just kept going for like a whole week until she'd read every single one of my messages.
She has borderline personality disorder, so sometimes that's kind of like tough to deal with, but like, she's a good person on the inside, you know.
She's such a caring person, and she's a very sociable person, so she actually doesn't put aside a lot of time to be by herself.
My mom, growing up, she didn't have health care. My mother never had health care. I just found out about this. It's something that she never told me. And she would take me and my sister to the doctor every time we get like a fucking bruise on our knee or something.
I've always lived my life like thinking that I should be selfish in the sense where like I should know what I want to do and I should go for it, like love and stuff like that get in the way, because they can affect like the things I want to do. They do like block the roads and the path. I always try to like push it away.
You always notice, anyone that knows me, I always have some kind of stick or something in my room. I don't know why, I don't know where it comes from. It's a shame, but there's social pressures that are put on you to be a male in the house. There's things that you have to do, you have to look after this. And there's things my dad would always say to me. And I always remember 2 things my dad said to me. One of them, look after, and he always says this, look after your mum and your little brother. And that, from young, I think, was when I first had so much pressure.
There's this huge thing in New Zealand about being the Kiwi bloke who's the man of the house, like in most cultures. I think it's like built up in men's minds quite often that they have to be this figure.
There's this person outside the house. I can't really see who it is from out the window. So I get on my stick, I tell them, I shut the door, I go to the back door, I open up the back door, I start shouting, yeah, to see who it is. It turns out it's my dad, out of nowhere just turns up. I don't know if he was a bit drunk or whatnot. I hadn't seen him for like 2 years. And it's like, whoa, like, who really is this person now? Can I just obviously I invite him into the house, but it's like, can I trust you?
My brother, he is probably the most sensitive person I know. I think when he was a child, he was very insightful. He was also very creative and funny, like he would make people laugh all the time. And then, as a teenager, he became very angry because, you know, my dad wasn't really there.
Grandma is white. Grandfather is told by. Like, just like a few days before I left, or just a few weeks before I left. Every time she would talk to me about Holland, she would start like crying, tearing up, and it just breaks my heart. It's such a huge part of my life, but I wouldn't say they influenced me, but they did like really just take care of me, and they were there when my parents were working.
And he wanted to join the army at some point because he didn't really see any other way of kind of making a living for himself. And we were all so scared for him. And I knew my brother wouldn't come out the same way, so I was really worried about that. But then, now years later, like he decided that it wasn't for him. And he came to me saying, you know, I'm not going to go to the army because my feet are too flat.
For every guy after they graduate with a diploma, they will have to serve national service, whether it's in the army, the police force, or the civil defense force. Probably the average age will be around 18, 19, 20. Yeah, so all the guys come in from all different backgrounds. Yeah, we were wearing the same uniform. I really hated the army actually. Like the whole environment. It was just so different. Stuff like, I feel like I was living in fear.
My friends are building these memories that I'm not a part of, and I get stressed that if I don't keep up with these things, I'll just be left behind and like I'll be a throwaway friend.
Yeah, I feel quite scared. Like I've never had anyone actually that like is gone. My grandfather, he had like cancer. But yeah, just recently, I think a few months ago, my mom told me. Like, I didn't know how to react. Like it was strange. It was a strange feeling. I wasn't sad. Yeah, I just didn't know what to feel. I didn't know what's the word to describe the feeling.
Emma passing away recently, I think that has really pushed me to just not stress about all the dumb stuff. And
from what I understand, like my parents used to smoke quite heavily back in the day, but I think my dad got into some more serious stuff. He overdosed on something, and the only reason that he's okay is because my gran had a dream about it happening. She had a dream that like something was wrong.
Witchcraft was a really big thing. That's kind of one of the first representations of a more feminist version of a woman that I saw as a child. You know, these women did whatever they wanted to do and made their own means, had their own tools, and I did it by myself and had all of these little rituals that I did. And not truly believing that they would make my life any different, but just more practicing parts of the universe that are sacred, you know? Trying to accept that there are things that are bigger than I am and appreciating those. Even if it's not a god, but it could just be the ocean or weather.
I used to be a very avid Christian. I went on 5 mission trips. I was in the youth group. I was in confirmation class and everything. I was in the handbells. I was in the choir. I was in the band. It was a lot. And somehow somebody found out that I was not straight, that I was pansexual, and I think that somebody somehow made the pastor find out, and so they let me go. They were extremely vague about it. They just sort of said, yeah, we think that maybe you don't need to come to these anymore. They made it sound like they were doing me a favor by not making me go anymore, so I was like, okay. But maybe it's my upbringing, but I do have some feeling that there's
Do you think
something.
For me, I think art shouldn't be political. Like, it can be, but you shouldn't impose a sense of thinking.
Single excursion that we go on with class, all the people that you see in paintings or artworks, they're all white, and then everybody who's looking at the works anyway and having the discussions about it is all white anyway. And I looked around at all the teachers and I said, and all of the faculty teaching me are all white. And and then I just remember getting that feeling, like since then, everything that I ever do and everything that I ever talk about is to do with race. I still just want to be a student. I think a lot of people think like, and I know a lot of teachers do, think that I'm just like complaining a lot, or I'm really cynical about my situation, or I'm spending a lot of time feeling sorry about myself, or you know, or like I'm really trying to force racial conversations. I obviously don't want to talk about any of these things because I'd love to live a life where none of them exist, you know, and I talk about them because they're things that I, for real, experience every single day.
I also remember the first time I saw David Bowie in a music video, and when I saw somebody and I also heard some interview about him speaking about his like ideas on gender fluidity, and it like blew open the doors for things that just it's not just saying that like it's not just making people say that it's okay. It's kind of like just making a space for people to start accepting that it's okay. When we give like platforms to these people more that we haven't heard from, it's gonna change the fucking world.
I don't want to give you any advice either. No, I don't. I don't have anything. And that's not because I don't know anything, but I don't think I should be telling you what to do. Even if it's well-intended advice. You gotta figure that shit out on your own. And you will, you know, everyone does.
what was like what you're training for basically?
What's I training for? To be ready, like to be ready to, like they call it like to be operationally ready.
When you feel like kissing, I feel like kissing too. When you feel like dancing, I feel like dancing with you. And this must be true, true love. Tell me that you love me, 'cause I'm in love with you. Although it's the first time I met you, I feel like kissing with you. Just tell me that you love me, 'cause I'm in love with you. And this must be true, true love. Tell me that you love me, 'cause I'm in love with you. Oftentimes you told me you will love no one but me. But it's the first time I met you, I feel like kissing with you. This must be true.